3 in the morning, gravel road. 2 headlights sitting at the end of your driveway that haven't moved in 40 minutes. You're not calling anybody. Whoever shows up won't be there for 20 minutes minimum, and in that 20 minutes, you are entirely responsible for what happens to the people in that house. I know that feeling. Spent 30-some years as a firearms instructor and personal protection consultant, worked ranches, worked with rural sheriffs, trained civilians from Montana to Mississippi. And the question I get more than any other, the one that follows me out of every class, is this: what do I actually grab when it matters? Here's the thing nobody in the gun community wants to say out loud. Bigger is not always better in a defensive situation. Longer is not always better. The 12-gauge full-size pump your grandfather left you is a tremendous weapon and also a liability in a hallway, a truck cab, or anywhere you have to move fast and think faster. The real insight, the one that should reshape how you look at this entire category of firearm, is that the most effective defensive shotgun is the one you can actually control, carry, and deploy in the space you're actually in. Not the space on a range, not a fictional movie hallway, your truck, your kitchen, the gap between your bed and your door. That's the spine of everything I'm about to tell you. Stick around through number 8, because I'm going to tell you something about cylinder bore chokes that will change how you pattern your home defense load, and the reason is something most people have completely backwards. And number 4 is a platform that I genuinely resisted for years before I finally admitted I was wrong about it. That admission cost me some pride, and it'll probably save somebody their life. Let's get into it. Number 15, the Mossberg Shockwave. I'm starting here because it's the one everybody asks about first, and also the one that gets the most incomplete information floating around it. The Shockwave is a 14-inch barreled, pistol-grip, bird's head grip firearm that Mossberg specifically designed to exist in a legal category between shotgun and pistol. It's not a shotgun by the federal definition, which means it doesn't require the barrel length minimums that apply to shotguns. Here's where I'll be straight with you. The Shockwave is a capable tool in trained hands and a liability in untrained ones. The bird's head grip means there's no stock to absorb recoil into your shoulder, so all of that energy is going into your wrists. With standard buckshot, you will feel it. With reduced recoil loads, it becomes manageable. But manageable is a relative term, and it requires practice. A lot of practice. If you're going to keep one of these in your truck, you need to shoot several hundred rounds through it before you trust it. That's not optional. Number 14, the Remington 870 TAC-14. Same legal category as the Shockwave, different feel in the hand. Remington went with a more traditional pistol grip rather than a bird's head configuration, and for people with larger hands, this is sometimes the more natural fit. The 14-inch barrel gives you a total package that sits behind a truck seat without announcing itself. The 870 action is one of the most proven actions in the history of pump shotguns. Parts availability is good. Reliability, if you keep it clean, is exceptional. Failure mode here is the same as the Shockwave. Inadequate training. These short format guns are not more forgiving. They're less forgiving. Number 13, the Kel-Tec KSG. I know, bullpup. Controversial. Hear me out. The KSG puts a 26-inch overall length package into your hands with a standard 18.5-inch barrel because the action runs behind the grip rather than in front of it. It also holds 14 rounds of 2 3/4-inch shells between its 2 tube magazines. In a home defense context, 14 rounds of buckshot without reloading is a meaningful number. The reason the bullpup works in tight spaces is simple geometry. You're not swinging barrel length you don't have. The failure mode on the KSG is manual manipulation. You have to consciously switch between the 2 magazines. Under stress, people forget. Dry fire this one until that manual magazine selection is something you can do without thinking. Number 12, the standard manufacturing DP-12. Double-barreled pump, 2 shells fired with each trigger pull, 12 rounds total. The mechanism here is that each trigger pull fires both barrels simultaneously, which means in a high-stress situation you're putting 2 rounds of buckshot on a threat with a single decision. The downside is weight. This is a heavy firearm, and in a long engagement your arms will know it. Also, The manual of arms is different enough from a standard pump that you genuinely need dedicated training. Don't just pick it up and assume your pump experience transfers cleanly. Number 11. The Turkish Market Citadel Boss 25. Semi-automatic AR-style platform, takes detachable box magazines, available in configurations under 26 inches overall. Here's the mechanism. The semi-automatic gas operation means you're not manually cycling between shots, which matters when your hands are shaking and your fine motor skills have taken a leave of absence. Stress degrades manual dexterity. It does not degrade a trigger pull the same way. That's the argument for semi-auto in a defensive context, and it's a real one. Quality control on some of the import variants has been inconsistent. Buy from a reputable dealer, run several boxes through it before you trust it, and know your return policy. Number 10. The Browning BPS with a shorter defensive barrel. Here's where I'll be straight with you again. The BPS is not typically listed in defensive shotgun conversations, and it should be. The bottom ejection design means this gun works for left-handed and right-handed shooters without modification. In a stress situation in the dark, not having a hot shell eject across your vision or into your face matters more than people think. Cut the barrel to legal minimums on a registered receiver, put a shorter stock on it if you run short, and you have a genuinely underrated defensive platform. Number 9. The Winchester SXP Defender. Speed pump. Winchester markets this action as faster than most competitors, and having shot both side by side, I think they're right. The inertia-assisted slide release means the action wants to open. You're working with the gun rather than against it. In a dark hallway at speed, a pump that cycles faster with less resistance is not a small advantage. Short barrels available, good aftermarket support. Number 8. Cylinder bore. I promised you this one. Most people think they want a tighter choke for buckshot because tight equals more control, right? Wrong. With buckshot, a tighter choke creates more pellet-on-pellet deformation as the shot column squeezes down, which actually opens your pattern unpredictably at defensive distances. Cylinder bore, meaning no choke constriction at all, lets the shot column exit cleanly and gives you a more consistent, predictable pattern at the distances inside a home or across a truck cab. Inside about 15 yards, cylinder bore will outperform improved cylinder with buckshot in most guns. Pattern your specific gun with your specific load on paper before you trust it. Every gun is different. This is not negotiable. Number 7. The Beretta 1301 Tactical Compact. Here's where semi-auto gets serious. The 1301 Tactical is one of the fastest cycling semi-automatic shotguns available, and the compact version brings overall length down without sacrificing reliability. The blink gas system Beretta uses cycles faster than most comparable designs, which means your second shot is available sooner. For home defense, this matters because the first shot is often not the last shot needed. This is an expensive firearm. It is worth the money. If budget is the constraint, don't start here. Number 6. The Mossberg 590 Shockwave with a magazine extension. Standard Shockwave runs 5 rounds. Add a factory-compatible extension and you're at 7 or 8. The mechanism is simple. More rounds means more options. In a defensive context, running dry before a threat is neutralized is a failure mode that ends conversations permanently. The extension adds length but not height, so it still fits behind a seat. Worth the 30 minutes it takes to install. Number 5. The Charles Daly Honcho. 14-inch pump in a more compact format than the Shockwave, with a conventional stock option available rather than pistol grip only. Here's where I'll be straight with you, and this one might surprise you. A short buttstock on a compact shotgun is often more controllable for more people than a pistol grip alone. The stock gives your shoulder a place to index the gun, gives you a cheek weld for your second shot, and brings natural point of aim into the picture. Pistol grip only requires training to make work. A short stock requires less. For the person who is not going to log 300 rounds of practice but does need a truck gun, the conventional stock compact is often the honest answer. Number 4. The semi-automatic pistol caliber carbine running shotgun shells. Wait. I know, that's not a shotgun. You're right. Here's my admission. I resisted the Mossberg 590M for years because magazine-fed shotguns felt like a gimmick to me. I was wrong. The detachable box magazine changes the reload equation in a fundamental way. Speed reloads on a tube-fed shotgun under stress are difficult. They require fine motor skills you may not have in the moment. Dropping a magazine and inserting another is a gross motor skill. It survives stress better. The 590M runs standard shells, feeds reliably in my experience, and fundamentally changes what the reload looks like. I should have come around on this sooner. Number 3. The Remington 870 with a legal short barrel and side saddle. Here's the thing about the platform that has been around longer than most of the people watching this video. The 870 is proven across conditions and climates and levels of maintenance that would make other actions give up. A side saddle carrier adds 6 rounds immediately accessible on the receiver. The short barrel puts the package under 21 inches with a short stock. This is not exciting. It is extraordinarily reliable, parts are everywhere, and any competent gunsmith knows this action cold. In a defensive context, boring is usually good. Number 2. The Mossberg 500 Persuader in its shortest legal configuration. Mossberg's dual extractors and aluminum receiver make this one of the most drop-proof, abuse-tolerant actions in the category. The tang safety is ambidextrous, which matters in low light when you're operating by feel. I've seen 500s run through conditions that would have choked other guns. Corrosion, mud, 3 years behind a truck seat with one cleaning. This action wants to run. The failure mode is springs eventually. Replace your action springs every few thousand rounds and this gun will outlast you. Number 1. And I want you to understand why this is number 1. Not because it's the most exotic or the most expensive or the one that gets the most attention online. The most effective defensive shotgun for truck and home use is the one chambered in whatever you've patterned, practiced with, and can operate completely in the dark without conscious thought. For most people who've come through my classes over the years, that ends up being a short-barreled Mossberg or Remington pump in 12 or 20 gauge with reduced recoil buckshot and a weapon light mounted forward. The light is not optional. You cannot shoot what you cannot see, and you cannot identify a threat you cannot see, and in the dark, your home has people in it you care about. The light is how you know what you're pointing at. That's the answer. It's not one gun. It's the combination of platform, ammunition, light, and repetition that makes it real. Back to that driveway. 3 in the morning, headlights sitting there. The gun in your hand in that moment is only as good as the hours you put in before that moment. That's what this whole list comes down to. Doesn't matter which one you pick from this list if it lives in a case unshot. Here's your challenge for the week. Whatever defensive shotgun you have right now, load it with your actual defensive load, unload it, and do it again in the dark. Just that. See how long it takes and where you hesitate. That hesitation is your homework. And tell me this in the comments. What's the defensive load you're actually running in your home gun right now, and what made you settle on it? Not brand loyalty. What made you choose it? That's the answer I want to read.